Welcome back to Soul, the place where stories remind us that kindness still matters, fate works in mysterious ways, and the smallest actions can change lives forever. If you enjoy meaningful stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, let's begin today's tale. It was early morning in the countryside when the sun painted golden stripes across the fields. The rooster crowed, the wind rustled through the ripe wheat, and the familiar creaks of old wooden structures echoed across the land. For Aaron, a 46-year-old farmer, this was just another day in his long line of hard days. His back ached from years of labor, his palms were tough like bark, and his equipment was as worn out as his faded hopes. But still, he woke up before dawn, pulled on his frayed shirt, and walked into the fields he had tended since he was a boy. These fields had seen everything: droughts, floods, storms, and the quiet sunsets when he felt the world was finally gentle to him. He farmed alone now. His wife had passed away years ago, and his son had left for the city in search of opportunities that the land could no longer give. Aaron never blamed him. He wanted his son to have a better life, even if that meant growing old by himself. On this particular morning, the village was expecting a heat wave. Farmers rushed to prepare their fields before the sun became unforgiving. Aaron wiped sweat from his forehead even before the day had truly begun. His tractor sputtered, coughing as if protesting yet another day of work. He patted it gently, whispering, "Just a little more, old friend. We've got to survive this season." Little did he know that fate had already sent a change his way. At the break of new sunlight, a shiny silver car cut through the dusty village road, a sight so out of place that goats and chickens scattered in confusion. The villagers paused their chores, staring at the luxury sedan as if it had descended from another world. Who could it be? Nobody from the city ever came here unless they were lost. Inside the car sat a young woman, 22 years old, hair slightly messy from hours of travel, eyes red from crying, and her hands tangled with anxiety. Her name was Aisha. She had left the city before sunrise, driven by anger, hurt, and the desire to escape a world where she felt unseen. Aisha was the only daughter of Rajveer Malhotra, one of the most powerful business tycoons in the country. And though her life seemed perfect from the outside, she carried a secret loneliness that wealth could never heal. Her father was always busy. Her future was always planned for her, and her opinions were always overshadowed by her father's empire. Last night, another argument had exploded between them. Rajveer wanted her to join his company. Aisha confessed she wanted to work in environmental conservation. He dismissed her dreams, saying they were childish. For the first time, she shouted back. For the first time, she said she didn't want his money or his plans, and so she drove. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she needed to breathe. But country roads aren't made for sleek city cars, and after hours of driving through rough terrain, her car came to a pathetic stop. The engine hissed, smoke trailed out, and the dashboard flashed angry warnings. Aisha stepped out, frustrated, helpless, and completely lost. Aaron noticed the commotion from his field. He shaded his eyes, squinted toward the road, and saw the stranded car. Without thinking twice, he put down his tools and walked toward her. Helping strangers was second nature to him. He believed that if someone came into your path, it was God's way of giving you a chance to do something good. Aisha looked up as he approached. Sweat dripped from her forehead, and dust clung to her sneakers. "Need help?" Aaron asked softly. She hesitated. The man looked rugged, tired, clothes covered in soil, but his eyes were warm, safe, kind. "My car won't start," she said, "and I don't really know where I am." Aaron chuckled lightly. "You're in Devgar village, miss, the last place anyone expects company like you." He inspected the car and quickly understood the problem. The vehicle was overheated, its radiator nearly dry. Not surprising for a machine that wasn't built for these roads. "You can't drive it for at least a few hours," he said. "It needs to cool. Until then, you should get out of this heat." Aisha looked around. She had nowhere to go. No hotels, no cafes, no cool waiting rooms. Just endless fields and simple homes. Seeing her uncertainty, Aaron added gently, "My house is close by. It's not fancy, but it's cooler than standing here under the sun." Aisha didn't want to be a burden. But exhaustion made the decision for her. "Thank you," she said softly. Aaron walked ahead, and Aisha followed him through narrow paths lined with wildflowers and crickets humming in the grass. When they reached his home, a small clay brick house with a tin roof, Aisha realized just how far she was from her world of polished floors and air-conditioned rooms. Inside, the house was simple but warm. Aaron offered her water from an earthen pot. She drank, surprised by how refreshing it felt. "You should rest," he said. "I'll fix your car once it cools." "You really don't have to," she replied. Aaron smiled. "If I saw someone in trouble and walked away, how would I live with myself?" That line struck something deep inside her. She nodded. As she rested on a charpai, she watched as Aaron went back to working in his field. She could see the strain on his body. Every movement looked like it carried years of exhaustion. His tractor groaned, his tools were rusty, yet he worked with unwavering patience. After some time, she walked over to him. "You work alone?" she asked. "For many years now. Isn't it hard? Life gives each of us battles," Aaron said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Mine just happens to be growing food on land that doesn't always listen." Something softened in her heart. She saw a man who had no wealth, no power, no comfort, yet he carried himself with more grace than anyone she knew in her luxurious city life. Something compelled her to stay and help. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe gratitude, maybe curiosity. She rolled up her sleeves. "Can I help?" she asked. Aaron stared at her in surprise and then laughed. "I appreciate the thought, but this is not city work. I want to try." And so the most unlikely pair began working together. She helped gather tools, carry buckets, pull weeds. At first, she clumsily tripped and stumbled, her hands getting scratched, but she kept going. Not once did Aaron laugh at her mistakes. Instead, he patiently taught her everything as if she were his own daughter. Hours passed, the sun softened, crickets sang louder. The two sat under a tree afterward, sharing a simple meal of roti and lentils. Aisha ate slowly. It wasn't the rich food she was used to, but it felt comforting. "Why do you live alone?" she asked gently. Aaron looked away. "Life doesn't always give us choices." That was all he said, and she didn't push. When it was time to leave, Aaron fixed her car using basic tools and a lot of perseverance. Aisha watched him work, feeling a heaviness form inside her chest. Before she left, she took out her wallet. "Please, let me pay you for today." Aaron's eyes hardened. "No," he said firmly, "I didn't help you for money. Your presence was more company than I've had in a long time." Her throat tightened. She drove away, but something about him stayed with her. On her way home, she kept thinking about his hands, rough yet gentle, his smile, tired yet warm, his life, hard yet dignified. That night, Aisha couldn't sleep. She thought about how small her problems seemed in comparison. She thought about how unhappy she felt despite having everything. Aaron had nothing, yet lived with gratitude. The next morning, she returned to Devgar. Aaron was shocked to see her again. "You came back," he asked. "I wanted to learn more," she said, "about farming, about this life." Aaron looked at her carefully. "This is no place for someone like you. Maybe I'm trying to find myself," she whispered, and so began days of unexpected friendship. Every morning, she left her luxurious world behind and joined Aaron in the fields. She learned how to plant seeds, how to check soil, how to harvest crops. But more than that, she learned about patience, about humility, about joy in small things. Aaron treated her like family, never asking why she kept coming, never judging her, never expecting anything. But her father noticed her absence. After days of searching, Rajveer finally got the location of her car's GPS the day it pinged near Devgar. He arrived unannounced, storming into the fields with bodyguards following close behind. Aaron looked up, confused, until he saw the richest man in the city pointing at him aggressively. "You," Rajveer shouted, "stay away from my daughter. What trick are you playing? What do you want from her?" Aaron froze, stunned. "Sir, I don't understand. I only helped her when her car broke down." Aisha ran forward. "Dad, stop. He didn't do anything. He's the kindest man I've ever met." But Rajveer wasn't listening. Years of power had taught him to see everyone as either a threat or a tool. "You want money, is that it?" he barked. Aaron felt the words pierce him. "I want nothing from you," he said softly. "Your daughter is safe. That's all that matters." Aisha's eyes filled with tears. "Dad, you don't even see people anymore. He's been more of a father to me these past few days than you've been in years." The truth stunned Rajveer. His shoulders dropped a little. Aisha continued, voice trembling. "He works alone, eats alone, lives alone, and yet he helped me without expecting anything. Do you know how rare that is?" Rajveer looked at Aaron with new eyes. The war, now tools, the broken tractor, the tiny house. It all told a story money never sees. "Why did you help her?" Rajveer asked quietly. Aaron shrugged. "If your daughter were lost in the fields and hungry, wouldn't you want someone to help her too?" Rajveer had no answer. His throat tightened. For the first time in years, he realized the world wasn't made of contracts and profits, but of people. Something changed in him that moment. In the following weeks, Rajveer returned, without bodyguards, without ego. He helped Aaron repair his tractor, upgrade his tools, and restore his home, not as charity, but as gratitude. Aisha continued to visit, not to escape her world anymore, but because Devgar had become another home. Aaron found the family he had lost, Aisha found the father she always wanted, and Rajveer found the humility he had forgotten. Sometimes the most powerful change comes from the simplest kindness, and sometimes the person we help without thinking becomes the person who changes our entire life. Thank you for watching, Soul. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us of our shared humanity.